I'm Megan Mitchell. This is my co-host, John Morrison, and you are listening to the True North Racing Podcast.
Time to strap in, pull those belts, and get ready for an action-packed episode of the True North Racing Podcast. Are you ready to unhelmet your favorite racers? Get ready for the most fun you'll have outside the racetrack to get you ready for the next race. You're listening to John Morrison and Megan Mitchell, and this is the True North Racing Podcast.
Welcome back to a brand new episode of the True North Racing Podcast presented by Driving With Hailey. I'm your host, John Morrison. Joining me, as always, our amazing co-host, Megan Mitchell. Megan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. We are being joined currently right now by the Dash for Cash winner last night at Flamboro Speedway. Rachel, how's it going?
I'm good.
How did, first of all, how did your nights go for you guys?
You want to go first? As good as it can get. Well, that's all I think. Could be better, but it's racing. I had a good night overall.
Obviously, that, you ran 9 out of the 10 laps leading that Dash for Cash race. Going into turn 1, looks like you got a little bit of help from behind spinning. Luckily, no damage, which was good.
Yeah.
But 9 out of the 10 laps, did that gain you some confidence back on track that we've is that bringing some resemblance back to 2021, Megan?
It did. The whole time I'm sitting there thinking, this is familiar. Okay, yeah, I've done this before. I just need to get my speeds back up and my braking and gas points back to par. And then and I think I'm golden. I think I'm ready to go.
And then, of course, Rachel, on that ensuing restart after that, started outside to Phil Givens. Powered around the outside, by the way. Very well, very nicely done. Clearing him by like at least about 4 feet or so. Running 2 laps up front and then bringing home that checkered flag. How did that feel for you?
I honestly wasn't expecting it. Like when I saw it starting right at beside Phil, I'm like, oh, he's gonna be gone. Like second better than nothing, I guess. But it was pretty good.
What were the emotions like as soon as you crossed that start finish line, and that checker flag was waving for you?
I can't help but laugh. I read my horoscope. I'm so stupid. I read my horoscope before the race was started, and it's saying something about like, oh, it's gonna be like a Hollywood moment. Like things are just gonna work out in ways that you're not gonna expect. And I don't know. I didn't fully believe it, but I'm like, I want to be hopeful.
I mean, okay, now to be fair, because no one ever said how much extra they put up. How much a little extra did they put up for you guys?
It was $100 to the winner, and then everyone else got $25.
Oh,
So it was pretty good.
that was a nice little extra.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was great to see. I was looking up the results last night after I got home, and I think it was actually I was standing at my friend's house last night. Yeah, we were having a fire at my friend's house last night, and I was like, oh, I wonder how Flamboro turned out, and I saw somebody like Chris putting up a post that talked about the Dash for Cash, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I looked up Race Monitor and saw the finish results. I'm like, no, I'm going to be honest. My first was like, no way. And of course, I saw the post this morning, and it was clear as day that Rachel got the checker flag and took home that victory, which is kind of cool because now 3 out of 4 of your family members have gone to victory lane in a pure stock.
Yeah. Chase is a little salty, but
yeah, I can imagine.
Chase congratulated me on my win, but told me I'm not allowed to hold it to him because he didn't get to participate in that race.
And of course, we have a great new TikTok memory. As you can see in the pedal power video, you can see Megan darting across the infield. just running full tilt like a Peterbilt and being the first one to the window to congratulate her sister. How did that feel for you, Megan, seeing that your sister got to victory lane like that?
It was exciting. Like, I'd be a liar if I said I wasn't disappointed because I felt like I had it in the bag. But when I realized that it was her, I'm like, I cheered crossing the line because I'm like, oh my God, she did it. Like, she did it. Like, I'm happy with that. So I'm like, I got to be the first one over there. And Tim's like, you could have parked closer. You didn't have to do like a 500-meter dash.
It creates better because I can't wait to you gotta show us that in-car footage from you guys. And I'm sure that's hysterical seeing you just start darting across the infield.
I don't even think we didn't have our GoPros on. That was the unfortunate part. We didn't have them because like it was so. I didn't realize when they were doing it, so none of us got our GoPros put on the car. We were just kind of like, whatever. It's a 10-lap dash for cash. Like, big deal. It was a bigger deal.
That is awesome. Well, Rachel, congratulations. That I can only imagine what that moment felt like for you. Like you said, you were laughing, but at the same time, like after having almost 24 hours to sink in, how is it now feeling? After the 24 hours, how's it settling in for you?
I wish I could have done it over. I had absolutely no idea like what to say. I wasn't expecting the interview too. Like they started rushing the end of the night because intermission went so long. I'm like, oh, I'm probably just gonna get right off. No, they wanted the top 3 in victory lane, and I'm like, oh my God, now what? Then they asked me, oh, who do you want to thank for your sponsors? I completely forgot myself. I'm like, oh, thanks.
She chose 2 and she ran with it. She's like, I don't know what to do with my head.
Yeah, I know. It was the whole Ricky Bobby thing. I heard it so quick, and I'm like, she had no clue what to say.
I had so many people come up to my car as I was heading to tech, and I'm like, I don't even know who came up to my car. I don't know what was said. I'm like, I was just so like stunned. I'm like, I don't know what's going on right now.
So let's give you a couple moments here real quick. Go over, take your time. We're not going to rush you. Thank all your sponsors who helped you and everyone who helped you get to victory lane last night.
First and foremost is Dad. Second, a very close second would be Chase for building and setting up the car. I gotta thank the entire team, Megan, Chase, Dad, Cody, Chelsea, our Gran and Papa who show up. I said Mom, didn't I?
No.
Mom, love you. McTier Water Haulage and AutoKate. I gotta thank Jomo Media, Lift the Visor, Stickers and Scuff. I gotta thank Pedal Power for capturing that moment. And lastly, I have to thank Graphic Design Studio.
Oh boy. Well, as you know, we are definitely proud of you for getting to victory lane. It's definitely going to be hopefully the first of many, even though you're just like you're learning right now. Let's be real. But next, you're going to be parking in that infield and getting a 25 lap feature win against some of the best competitors. And it's not. I feel like it's not going to be too much longer. Hell, who knows? Maybe we have to bring you on again in a couple weeks, and let's just say you go out there and dominate the feature.
Well, with these inversions, I'm definitely getting closer in the beginning.
Oh, no. Well, Rachel, congratulations on your win. Thank you so much for stopping by for a few minutes and chatting with us.
Thank you.
And it's always fun when we get a chance to have the feature winner join us, even if it was a Dash for Cash event. That's still a cool thing. I'm super proud of your team, obviously, because you going out there leading 9 out of 10 laps, and then even though you having an incident, your sister essentially, when you think about it, MRC Racing led every lap.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, think about it that way.
That's what I said. I'm like, I can be happy with that. Like, I'm glad we got it done. It was really good for both of us. I'm like, I think it was just what I needed to lead those laps, and it was exactly what Rachel needed too. So I'm like,
Yeah,
the best of both worlds. We both won, like in our own
exactly.
sense.
You cannot complain in that. It's obviously fantastic for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, though, how did last night go? Other than all that fun and excitement, how did last night go for at down at Flamboro Speedway?
It was good. Uh, super stocks. Nobody showed up. To be
No, there was no
totally
cars,
honest,
or
there was no super stocks showed up. So that's why they did this dash for cash, because we had the highest car count. So John wanted to kind of reward us for that. So he did the dash for cash, and it was the last 10 cars that got to do it. So that kind of changed up the program a lot. Not
yeah.
a lot, but it added something different to it. We had spectator drag. There was a lot of cars for that. And then we had the stunt riders on motorcycles come out. So
How cool
that
was
was
that, by
another.
the way?
It was pretty cool. Like,
Yeah,
I didn't know really what to expect, but it's like I got to watch like half of it before I had to go get ready. So
yeah.
it was it was cool. Um, it's like I think it was a good night overall. All the racing seemed really. I mean, there was cautions, but from what I saw, it was all pretty clean and good racing. So I think everybody all around was happy. It was a really good night.
Yeah,
Weather was really nice too.
yeah, it was really warm yesterday. I was out at Arthur helping a buddy of mine build a play set for his kids.
Oh yeah,
And then we ended up having a fire last night, and we didn't get out of there till about 11ish,
yeah,
just before 11, I think. Um, no, we had a great time though, and of course checking out all the finishing orders from today. It's always nice, even if I don't get a chance to go to the track. It's nice when I wake up in the morning, I see all the updates from last night. It is such a cool feeling to see. Yeah, it's really good to see, and it's really necessary, I think, to be able to showcase what people are doing. Junior Farley winning last night in the APC race up at Sunset. Fantastic news. Mason Colliver got his
hmm
first win in the trucks up at Full Throttle. Um, Rachel going to victory lane for the first time. You got Mike Thompson returning to victory lane in the mini stocks. It lots of great storylines came out from last night, which is great. You don't want to see negative storylines, unfortunately.
yeah.
I think one of the good ones was Lisa Barton getting
hmm
it driving in a pure stock this year. She'll be running 5 events, and she's also going to be splitting the seat with Jay Pepin and Maddox Pepin as well. So
Yeah.
that is it's cool to see. I know her and I ended pretty early, but she'll come out better. She'll come out stronger next
Mhm.
time, and that's sometimes it happens, and that's okay.
Exactly.
We all got to start somewhere.
And that's exactly it. That's what I said. It's all about the seat time. We all started there. Like, she'll get there. Just stick with it, and she'll be there in no time.
Yeah. Uh, this week on the Driving with Hailey vehicle spotlight, we got a 2023 Cadillac XT4 SUV. Has only 52,819 kilometers and is all-wheel drive. Um, it's white, 5 seats, 4-door. It's a English here. It's a turbocharged gas engine, 2.0 liter. It only has one previous owner, accident free, power passenger seat, blind spot sensors, heated steering wheel, lane departure warning, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Um, it is it's a beautiful looking car. I don't know. Haley doesn't miss in the cars that she sends me.
Yeah.
Like she does not miss at all. These things are all clean. They're beautiful looking. Um, so yeah, if you guys are looking to get yourself into a new ride, get a hold of Haley Hill. Uh, she's not only the presenting sponsor of the podcast, but I have bought a vehicle from her. I have a 2017 Dodge Caravan I purchased from her about a year and a half ago. It has been fantastic. It's a great vehicle. It's perfect for the family, and sometimes that's all that matters, right? Is just making sure that it's right for the family. You guys can find her on Facebook at Driving with Hailey. You guys can email her hhill@rideride.ca, or you can give her a shout at 289-808-2828. And of course, that is our Driving with Hailey vehicle spotlight this week. And of course, we got to give a big shout out to Hailey Hill for being the presenting sponsor of the podcast. Without her support this year, it's been incredible so far. So yeah, go give her a shout if you guys are looking for any ride. Doesn't matter which one, just give her a shout. She can help you get in the right ride. Oh, see what I'm doing there for you. She also deals with bad credit, low credit, good credit. Doesn't matter the credit. She's going to help you get into a new car that is right for you. So give her a shout today. Well, it's just about time to bring in this week's guest. And he told me last week he just wants to be called the Pug. You know who's coming on.
Yeah, I do.
And you got branded last night by him. What is that about?
I don't know. He hands these stickers out to a lot of the Pure Stock drivers. So he had 2, so Chase and I claimed them, and we got branded too. I think ultimately the goal is for all the Pure Stock drivers to be branded, which I'll take it because Mark's a really good guy.
Yeah.
He's a really good driver.
Well, as Megan just said, we're going to have the Pug Mark Allan join us on this week's Graphic Design Studio guest segment. All right, joining us this week on our Graphic Design Studio guest segment, we got Mark Allan, or better known as the Pug, down at Flamboro Speedway. How's it going?
It's going great.
We're
Especially
excited
after
to have
last
you.
night. Last night was great.
So
all the way around.
Okay, so about last night, let's have you and Megan talk about what went on last night at Flamboro Speedway.
Well, the first race was that I can remember. It was fairly uneventful. I started 4th, I think, and I ended up 4th. This year, this is my 3rd year, and the first race of this year and this race are really the first times I've been racing, if you want to say that. I finally got kind of fast enough last year, and this year I just feel more comfortable in the car, getting closer to people, and that's what you need to do to race. And sometimes you're banging, and nothing serious, but I remember in the first race, there was the 3 of us kind of out there, and then there was a space, and then Gary Slamma got through there, and he was coming and ended up passing me. But that next lap, I put him 3 wide and bounced off him a couple times, and that's the first time I've ever done that. Like, I saw the hole and I thought, no, I'm going, man. And a few people in the stands noticed that too, that I did that. And I talked to Gary about it afterwards, and I said, hey man, I'm starting to race. And he loved it. He just loved it. Making contact like that where nobody seriously, comes out of it with a flat or anything like that is part of it. And sometimes you got to put yourself there, you got to make it a little harder for people to pass you. I think, I was trying to get back around him again. That was probably a pretty high order for me yet. But that's the first time I really kind of asserted myself a little bit. And then the second feature was just was it you? Now, Megan, I get you confused with your sister all the time.
Yeah.
Which car are you in again?
I'm the white, orange, and black one.
Oh, it was you that
It was
I saw you spinning. I was on the low side. I saw you spinning, and the next thing I know, you're facing me. And,
Oh, that one might have been Rachel. We have her
was that
GoPro. That was Rachel.
was that Rachel?
Yeah.
And it came. I don't know that did anybody hit her?
No, everyone cleared her.
Yeah, everybody got around her, and but it was like, whoa. And I believe in that second feature, there was fluid on the track of some sort.
Mhm.
I didn't know that at the time, but I almost hit the wall coming out of 4. I didn't scrub it because there was no white, but it was close. And I noticed after that, it felt like my tires were going away. And it was in 3 and 4, it seemed to be, but there were some in 1 and 2, I think, also.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, like I thought I had a problem, so I kind of wasn't driving as hard. But yeah, something was going on. But it was the second feature was a bit more exciting.
Mm-hmm.
But I think from what I saw from my position, which it is, you don't see a whole lot, but you see what's happening in front of you and a little bit behind you. I think everybody treated everybody with respect, and there wasn't anything stupid. And there's a lot of cars out there, and some are going at a different pace, and you got to give everybody respect. And I think for the most part that kind of happened. There's always little bumps and bangs that are going on, and I know sometimes in the heat of the moment, those bangs seem a lot bigger than truly what they are. I know last week, is it Chance, the 12?
Yeah.
I love that car. My wife had a TC, and I couldn't wait to see that thing. But he was pounding on me, and at first I kind of went, but you know what? This week, I was pounding on someone else. And, he was pounding on me in the way that, he wasn't going to spin me or anything.
Yeah.
He was just letting me know that I'm here, and maybe I'm a little faster. And that's all cool. I'm there for fun, number one, anyways. And it was also great to see that Dash for Cash and, how everything kind of worked out. Was that you or Rachel? I can't remember. Who won that one?
I led the first 9, and then Rachel ended up winning it.
The one thing that it was awesome. That whole thing was awesome. Now, maybe there was a couple cars that probably shouldn't have been in there, but just by circumstance they were.
Yeah.
But it was great. I think they should do that more often.
That's what I said.
Absolutely. Not necessarily every week, or, if they have the time, great. But, give everybody a chance. And the one thing I've noticed with you guys is, and we've kind of talked about this a little bit, we've noticed you guys, we look at your times and you're getting faster. And I think that we're going to probably start to see you move up the track a little bit more as time goes on. I think you should take your time doing that and not rush yourself. I think taking baby steps is the better way to go. I can tell you this, and maybe this will say a little bit about me and my background. And when I'm not going to go too deep here, but in my early 20s, I had panic attacks, anxiety really bad. And also later in life, I had that. And I've always gone to therapy. I'm on medication for it. So for a dude who, my dad used to take me to the track in like, say around from 76 to 80, probably the golden years, because it was packed and they had so many cars, and Howie Scannell was my favorite driver, and used to love going. And was afraid, and you know, circumstances in life too, you know, when you're young. And you know, I was married at 21 and sort of set on a career, but I always had that love of racing. I always went to Flamboro, not every night, but a few nights every year.
Mm-hmm.
I actually lived in Millgrove.
Oh, did you?
Yep. And that's, I remember too, after coming out of the track, used to be like they had cops and everything directed, and it was like a madhouse, man. It was pretty cool. But to talk about the anxiety part, like, you got to, part of the reason, you know, when I retired and I thought, you know, man, I could do this now, you know, and that was my biggest thing to overcome. Because even though, you know, I'm 60 years old and I've been working on it for a few years, it's still there. It never goes away.
Yeah.
And so I took the approach. My first year was kind of just to go slow, and I didn't really care about, you know, I wanted to stay on the lead lap. I remember that being my first thing. First race, I got lapped 3 times, and, you know, and the first year was decent. I had a rough start. But the second half was better. Then I sold that car. That was a car that I had purchased and built. Nick Clark. I got to meet Nick Clark, and I stripped the car and everything, and he built the car, and then I put the cherry on top when I came back. And last year I went from, I think I was running like 19.8s and 20s, and I started to, like, I slowly started to move up the track. And by the end of the year, if I was on the track by myself, I did a 19.3.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel. Now I gotta overcome the anxiety and everything else that goes around when you got 25 cars on the track. And I did well in Peterborough, qualifying, and then I went to Peterborough, did well. It was great. My confidence level was building and building, and this year I came in and I'm right up high. Like, I'm racing now. And I'm still not, you know, I'm a 60-year-old guy. I'm not 20. So I think about consequences probably a little bit more. So I'm a little bit more cautious, but the more I get comfortable and running with people and beside them, and I think, you know, it just becomes more fun, more intense.
Definitely.
The biggest compliment I got last night, a lot of people said to me, yeah, they've noticed, you know, yeah, Mark, you're doing, yeah, was actually the tech fella. Sometimes I have brain farts. What's his name now? Glenn.
Yeah.
He was watching me in practice, and he saw that. He said, Mark, I've noticed a difference. He said, you have car control. He said, I saw you go into the corner too fast, like you were sideways, and people were thinking you're going to hit the wall. I had total control of the car. I lost control for a minute, but I knew what it was doing, and I pedaled it and got it to do what I wanted it to do. And when he said that to me, I went, yeah, thank you. I've noticed that. I feel more in control of the car, and it just now makes me feel like I'm being competitive, you know. But the number one thing is fun for me. I think at least the people that pit around me, we all want to beat each other. I pit beside Spencer, and I'll tell you something. if it came down to me and him coming down on the last lap, so like I'm not going to take him out, but I'm going to do everything I can to get by him. And we can be friends when we get off, and that's just the way it's going to be. Like when we get off the track, we're all friendly and we want everybody to do well. But when we get out on that track, we're going to respect you, but it's more fun that way, I think.
Absolutely.
It eliminates that animosity or whatever happens, and people may be getting too serious about it. And then it also gives opportunity for people, and they do it in a joking way, to tell you what you've done wrong.
Yeah.
What you probably shouldn't do again. And it gives, I speak my mind too. There's a few people that I've said certain things to that they need to just tone it down a little bit and things like that. And I do it respectfully. I'm not, and I like the people. It's not that I don't like them, but I don't want to see certain things going on. It just ruins it for everybody.
Yeah.
And we've all seen it.
Oh yeah. It's racing.
Yeah, and that should go, really. I mean, we're doing this for fun. We're pure stock drivers. I mean, where are we going?
Yeah.
We're going nowhere.
Exactly.
And I'm just doing it for the love that my dad introduced me to racing, and I've always watched it. And so it was a dream. It was like a 10-year-old's dream come true when it started to happen, and it almost seems unreal.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm towing my car up to Flamboro. I only live 10 minutes from the track. And in fact, I used to work for Frank at the gas station.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Back in the day. Sometimes I'm pulling my car through Millgrove, and I can't believe that I'm doing what I'm doing. It's like, wow, this is cool. And I think maybe I'd love to see, and I've met these people that are in their late 60s or 70s years old that are still having fun. They don't behave like they're 70.
No.
They're 18.
It's just a number.
They're 18. And I think it's beautiful. Why not?
Life hits you when you stop moving.
And it's short, man.
Yeah.
And everybody's got dreams, right? And maybe some dreams can't happen. I mean, they're just too big. But to be able to come full circle and have that happen to you is kind of cool. And the other thing that really makes me feel young is because I'm with a group of people. And when I say that, it's all the pure stock, all the racers there, the ones I talk to, that love the same thing. And it doesn't matter about age.
No.
I get invited to go with youngins and do stuff. And it's kind of fun. and they seem to not mind having me around. Maybe because I don't behave my age a little bit. And I enjoy, especially at Peterborough, because there was a lot of time there. You spent 3 or 4 days or whatever, sitting back as an old man, watching these 20-year-olds doing stupid stuff and just laughing. It was so funny. And it was quite joyful. It was quite joyful to see what was going on, and a lot of fun. And I'm glad that they allow me to participate in that. And I want to do this long term. I'm not looking to do it for a year or 2 or 3. I'll do it I want to do it as long as I can. And I think that there's been certain drivers and certain people that have influenced me a lot, because when I came there, I had no idea how to behave, what was right, what was wrong.
Yeah.
There's a code. It's not written down. You got to learn it.
Yep.
And I remember after every race, when I had some incidents, because I would always ask questions and try to figure out. So it took me time to learn that, but there were certain people that sort of mentored me. And this will lead into a Cam Thompson story.
Oh boy.
When I was pitted down beside him my first year, and he was the first driver really to come up and talk to me and help me. He actually put his setup in my car.
Nice.
And because he could see, like, I was no threat.
Yeah.
And that I was respectful and asking questions, and he was, very nice to do that. And that was his first year in Pure Stock, like full time. And I remember the first 6 races, he did okay. He didn't, I don't think he was in the top 5 any of those. Maybe he might have, but 7th or 8th race, whatever it was, he won. And I barely know this guy, but I'd learned a little bit about him, about his background, about his love for racing. And that was his first win. You know what I did? Without even knowing, some people might have got upset with me, and he might have even got upset with me because I had a full 5-gallon jug of Gatorade. One of those big things, you because that's what I was bringing my first year, and I dumped it over him. I dumped it right over him. And the look of shock on his face, and wasn't sure which way it was going to go.
Yeah.
And then he gave me a hug, and I said, "You're going to remember this." It's your first win, buddy. I'll never do it to you again, but it's your first win. And, you've been kind to me. And even though you got soaking wet and everything else, man, it gave me a memory too.
Yeah.
And he's a great kid. I love Cam. Cam's a very, he taught me, like, he's pretty steady. He gets upset, and you can tell, but he contains it pretty well.
Yeah.
And it sort of was an example to me. And here's a 58 or whatever I was then. I don't know how old he was, 17 or 18. He was teaching me.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty wonderful. And then I got to see this Leo dude, right? Getting a couple wrecks that were questionable wrecks. And he was so self-deprecating. He didn't care. And he eliminated the tension.
Always.
And I saw that, and I went, wow, I like that. So I started talking to him a bit more, and I got to know him a little bit more. And he's such a wonderful guy. He's told me I need to hit him more.
He loves that.
He loves it. He said, "Mark, just don't go around me, hit me." But I haven't got around him yet, but because he tends to use both lanes. Leo, we'll get by you. I passed him in Peterborough. I passed him in a heat in Peterborough, and I haven't yet passed him, I don't think, at Flamboro, but it's coming. And there's going to be a bang or two as we go, I think. If not, he'll be disappointed. And him and I got into a couple tangles in my first year. I drove right over his hood.
Oh, jeez.
One race. He was starting to spin, and this is how kind of uneducated I was about driving. He's starting to spin, and I figured I could hit him in the nose, keep it. I kept it to the floor, and I could straighten him back out again. Well, that didn't work out. There's a great picture. There's a great picture of me running over his head, and go back in the pits, and I didn't quite know him yet, and he comes walking down, right? But I could tell it was happy, like it wasn't going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Came down, gave me a hug, and he goes, "Wasn't that awesome?" And I go, "Yeah, it kind of was." And I explained to him what I was trying to do, and I learned that that's not something that it won't work.
You live and learn.
Guys like him, and then Wade Thorne's not the type of guy to, at least with me, my experience is the way he gives me advice, and I don't ask him too much, little things. He gives it to me. I wait for it. And
Yeah.
He gives it to me in little statements.
Mm-hmm.
He'll walk by me and say something. Or little things. And he's trying to help me.
Mm-hmm.
And I pay attention to it. Because he can drive. He knows a lot about the cars. He's an honorable guy. Him and his dad are, you know, they're just totally honorable people and of this earth, man. They're just super. And I totally trust them. And every suggestion pretty well that he's made, I've paid attention to, and I've not always taken it. I think what I started to do, and Nick Clark helped me out a lot too. I mean, I love Nick. Nick has saved me so many times, and he's such a great fella, and he doesn't charge enough sometimes. And you know, I remember the first time I met him was with my first car. It had to be detuned, and he put it on his computer and took the tuning out of it because it was a mini stock up at Sauble.
Okay.
And he wasn't going to charge me.
Oh, wow.
First time I ever met him. And I ended up shoving something in his pocket. But right away, I got a very good impression of him. And that's kind of why I went with him on the car. And I remember texting him all the times, asking him probably, you know, some of them were pretty stupid questions. Like,
there's no such thing as a stupid question.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
You just might get a stupid answer.
Well, I remember I was putting in my strut. I got new struts and I was putting it in. I couldn't figure out why where it connects into the steering thing was pointed the wrong way. And but I didn't even know it would turn. Just simple, right? I'm on the texting him saying, "Oh, what's going on? I must have got there." Mark, just turn it. Like, ooh. I mean, that's how uneducated I was, and he really helped me, and I wanted to do the work. And I remember taking on and off, taking apart, you know, where the spindle is, and taking it all apart, putting it back together, take it apart, put it back together. So I understood it. And now I feel, you know, to a certain level, I can do all that kind of stuff. However, I'm old. And when I'm at the track, I don't think I would have enough energy if my car, the few times it's been wrecked, to do the work. I mean, it's a scramble sometimes.
Yeah.
And my second year, I pitted beside Spencer on purpose because I saw Spencer from a distance, and I saw that he was a kind of guy I wanted to be around. He was helpful. He was contained, and I knew that there was things that I could learn from him. And by accident, I you know, through being beside him, I met Kyle, his crew chief, I guess you would call him. And
yeah,
I did, you know, I remember being in a wreck. I think the one time, I think I hit Chance and they towed me off. And Kyle's there. He's already got the jack stands down and put the car down. And he told me, Mark, just go away. And he now, unofficially or officially, I don't know what it is. I don't want to overstep it, but he looks after my car when that happens and stuff like that. Like he said last night when he saw me come close to the wall, he said I was already kind of headed to the pits. So it's wonderful to have someone around like that can help me.
Definitely.
And I do my best to help them in return. And I know one of the things that I discovered that I could help them with my age, and was because Spencer's a great kid. He gets hot sometimes. He gets stubborn. And I keep encouraging him, and I tell him like to forget about certain things and just focus on top five. Give me top fives. Come on, Spencer. I don't care if you're going to win. It's going to happen. But and don't let little things interfere with what you're out there to do. And if someone hits you a little bit and you get distracted by it, don't focus on what you're doing. And that kid has a different line than anybody else.
Oh yeah.
He can run the high side. He's pretty fearless on that. And he makes it work, and he understands how to drive. He may not be the number one driver there, but he's top three, along with Cam and some others. And one of those others that I see on the horizon, and we've been talking about this, I've mentioned it to Spencer too. Your brother.
Yeah. I'm biased, but
Your brother. No, I'll tell you what I see in your brother. Since I've observed him, over the 2 and a bit.
Yeah.
He's improved a lot, and he's becoming more refined. And I've made comments to him too about certain things, and in a respectful way.
Yeah.
And he's a threat. He's a threat. And I reminded Spencer of that. And I said, he's, and don't get distracted by stuff. And he's kind of like, I see him a bit of a dark horse in a way, because he's still got a long way to go. There's a few things I've seen in his driving that he needs to work on. And I think he kind of knows what they are. I've mentioned it to him, and it's something actually that I've been trying to work on myself.
Right.
Which is slowing my entry.
Oh yeah.
Wade, I learned this at Peterborough. Peterborough's a bit of a different track, and you can't drive it like Flamboro. Otherwise, you'll go into turn one and you're spinning, so I learned to coast, and I learned to slow my entry there. It started to happen. And then I noticed I'm coming out fast.
Yeah.
And it's a very fine line of where you should be getting into the throttle before halfway, probably a quarter of a way into the corner. Some of these guys that can really race are barely using their brakes.
Yeah.
And it's because it's a front wheel drive car, if you time it right and you give it the throttle, it'll pull it. And I've noticed this year, just in my first 4 races, my car feels faster. And it feels faster, I think, because I'm slowing my entry and I'm coming out, I'm rolling the corner better and I'm coming out faster.
Yeah.
And that was the advice I gave to Chase. And I said, sometimes I've noticed you come in a little hot. Just back it down just a little tad. You got to discover it for yourself. Everybody's different in the way that they drive. But I think if he starts doing stuff like that, he's got to gain about 0.2.
See, and I'm glad that you can go and say something to him, because I'll be honest, he doesn't want to hear it from us.
Well,
We tell
you're
him
his
stuff and
sister.
he don't want to hear it from us. So
He
if
doesn't
you
want to
guys
hear it from
go-
his sister.
No.
No. But see, the type of person I am, and I've got burned by this in my life, but I've learned it. You got to remember, I'm not a puppy. Even with people that I may not like, or not necessarily not like, but they just don't, everybody's different, right? There's different people in this world.
Yep.
But I think if you approach them right, I know Chase, I don't know if he's going to listen to me or not. I hope he does, because I think the advice I'm giving him is not to hurt him.
No.
It's to help him.
Exactly.
And it's advice I'm getting, and I'm kind of passing it to him. And I'll keep saying it to him until I see it.
Please do.
Because I think, you got to work on one thing at a time. You can't overwhelm the whole system, right?
No.
I think what will happen is if he discovers the correct entry speed for him and his car and all that, it makes the corner so much easier, and you will come out much better. And the fast guys, that's what they're doing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's hard to do, though. It's not easy. It's a very, very fine line. Like you're worried about what's behind you, but you, I guess in a way, you can't worry about that. You got to enter that corner the way you want to enter it. And if someone's going to spin you out on that, they should, back off. Like if they see that, or pass me. Right. I used to worry about that all the time. And I know that I drove too deep in the corner, like all the time. And it was that fear of, not wanting to slow people up, or the fear of someone, dive bombing into the corner or whatever. And it used to worry me. I don't worry about it anymore. I just drive the way I think I should drive. And I'm observant. I see, the one thing I've noticed because of my anxiety, the first year, I can tell you, the first race, I was scared shitless. And I was shaking. And it was like I couldn't turn my head.
Yeah.
I had my mirrors both in the wrong place. They looked pretty, but they did nothing because I couldn't see out of them. And then I had, I remember Spencer coming over to me and said, "What the hell are you doing, man? Like, put your mirror here or do this." And anyways, the more comfortable I've got and the more that I've been able to control my anxiety, I've become very comfortable. Everything slows down.
Yes.
You see more. When that spin, that was you, right? Or you're Rachel, or
Rachel, yeah.
I still think you're one person. I saw that come. I saw you starting to spin. And so like what Spencer has on the back of his car, look past your eyeballs. After that race, I went up to him and I said, "Spencer, I look past my eyeballs." I'm starting to notice things up the track, and I'm paying attention to what's going on ahead of me, and trying to anticipate things. And the more that I become comfortable and the less that I'm scared and shaking in my boots, the more I see, things slow down. I'm starting to be able to analyze things quicker. It's a great feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the important part of how I got to this was baby steps. And it still is.
Yeah.
I know I'm not ready to, race with the big boys. I know I got, 2 or 3 tenths or 4 tenths to make up. But it's going to come. It'll come in time. I'm not going to force the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Like some I won't mention, and it's not you. It used to be a pink car. In fact, I sponsor it, and I love the kid.
Yeah.
I love him to death. I think he's a great kid.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But he needs to slow down. He started his first year so wonderfully,
Mm-hmm.
and then it went off the rails, and it's still there. However, there was good news yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
He finished at Varney.
Yeah.
That was
and
good
did
to see.
and did well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hard on him, especially there was I like him,
Mm-hmm.
and I can see he's a young kid, and there's certain things that any young kid would do, and some do it a little bit more than others.
Yeah.
And he may not like it sometimes when I say it. I don't know. He's never said anything. He's been always super respectful, helps me load my car, make sure everything. We're not mentioning his name, but we all know who he is. So my hope for him is that he starts over again
Mm-hmm.
and takes baby steps and continues to take baby steps. And I think if he does that, like what you guys are doing,
Mm-hmm.
what you and your sister are doing,
Yeah.
that's the way. Get comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
If you're scared and anxious and you start running with those guys, something bad will happen.
Exactly.
And it may, it's going to be an accident. It's not
Mm-hmm.
going to be necessarily anybody's fault. I mean, I can't see anybody that I kind of know in the area that would intentionally do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Now, saying that, I never thought I would ever do that either. But I will admit, Mr. Flute, I forget his first name, young kid.
Is that Ruben?
Ruben.
Right.
My first year, I think it was like my 4th or 5th race. First race, he went 3 wide on me and kind of bounced me around. But hey, I'm a slow car. But it upset me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't learned how to control myself yet. I was still, and that was the one thing that my wife was so worried about, was how I was going to handle that. Well, the second feature, I think we were fighting for 15th. There was like 2 laps to go. He's ahead of me. I drove into him. He busted his front. Like there was damage. There's quite a bit. And immediately I regretted it.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt horrible. And I remember I was starting to walk to his pits, and my wife said, don't go there. And I said, no, I have to.
Mm-hmm.
So I walked up to him, and he was upset. He controlled himself, though. I apologized. I admitted I did it on purpose. I said, I'm sorry. It was a mistake. And he said, you know what? You're a rookie. He said, we all make mistakes.
Exactly.
He said, it's okay, but you should leave now because I want to put my car in. He was upset.
Yeah.
But he said it popped a bunch of pressure I had on myself that I could be forgiven for doing something that I really shouldn't have done. And he accepted my apology, and I've never done it again.
Mhm.
And I never will. And I remember, I think it was the first race. Can't remember which one. They all kind of blur together, but it happened this year. Chase was ahead of me.
Mhm.
I talked to him afterwards. He said, I was waiting for you to hit me. I said, I'm not going to hit you, buddy. Not on purpose. It ain't going to happen.
Mhm.
I'm getting closer to people, but I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
So if you see me behind you, race me. I may bump you a little bit, but I'm not dive bombing you.
No.
Because I think he was a little worried about it, because he's kind of bumped into me a couple times.
Mhm.
And maybe he thought that was coming back at him. But no, it wasn't going to happen. It made him smile. He's pretty quiet. He doesn't say a whole lot.
No.
He's starting to say more to me, which I like. I think he's becoming more comfortable, and he's starting to learn what I'm about.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've been angry at him. Like at Frostfest, when we kind of bumped into each other, whatever the circumstances were. When I was on 10 laps or something, and I parked my car, and I was at the fence, at the grandstand there. Every time we went by, I was swearing. And I told him that.
We all do that.
For about 5 laps, man, I was like giving him the hex. And I remember my wife was standing, and she was sitting in the grandstands. I was up against the fence because I was animated.
Mhm.
And she said, Mark, stop it. And it brought me right, I'll never do that again. Behave that way. I need to set an example. I'm a 60-year-old dude, man. I don't need to be doing that. There's kids around, and we don't want to behave that way. We can all get lost in the moment.
For sure.
But I don't believe he intentionally tried to do anything to me any of the times that it happened. I really don't. I think he might have miscalculated a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I'm going to miscalculate too one day, and probably already have a few times. So I have total respect for him. I have respect for you guys. I saw what happened the year before I came on the scene.
Mhm.
And I don't want to see any of that kind of stuff going on, and it shouldn't go on, and we should all try to be friends and support each other. And I think everybody was really happy when one of you two won that. Sorry, I'll get it. You guys got to wear different colors or something. Because I'm be totally honest. I did believe it was one person there for a while, and I know I was meeting both of you, but it was like I was getting anyway. So sorry for that. I'll get over it.
Okay.
But everybody that I was around was pretty happy about that win. I think a few drivers went up and pounded on the car and said something, and it was sincere. I think everybody was sincere about that. When it really comes down to it, as long as you treat people with respect, they should give it back.
For sure.
And you should treat people like how you want to be treated. And we all make mistakes.
Yep.
And we need to be able to forgive each other when we do make them. And, we don't want to see people intentionally trying to hurt anybody.
No.
It's not cool. So I commend you guys, both of you guys, for persevering.
Thank you.
And taking the approach that you are. I'm not sure what car setup you got, but the way you talk, I don't like it. About the car being tight and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. But you guys will do what you need to do to feel comfortable in that car, and go slow, take your time, don't get ahead of yourself. And what will happen, and I'm kind of an example of it, and I have and continue to have those anxiety issues and things like that. I'm at the point now, I feel so comfortable. Now, I know there's going to be a day where I'm upside down or in the wall, because I've already been involved in one of those wrecks, and thankfully I got spit out.
Yeah.
And then poor Chase had nothing to do but hit me, because I got spit out into the middle of the track.
Oh yeah.
So I know that's going to happen, and I know that could probably take a dent to your confidence. But I think what you need to do is get right back on that horse, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen to everybody, especially if you're racing.
Exactly.
You got to be prepared for that. I'm not like, I remember when the dude flipped there at Frostfest. I was at the fence, and I made the mistake of saying that the car was on fire, because he's hanging upside down, and he probably didn't want to hear that. I tried to put myself in his shoes, and I talked to him about it afterwards. I said, what was it like hanging there? Because I'm not sure how I'm going to handle that.
Yeah.
I think, he handled it well. I think he stayed calm. There was someone there talking to him right away. I noticed that. And I think that's a big help, to have someone lying on the ground there saying, don't release your belt. Everything's okay. Chill. I think it was handled well. It was a little slower than I would have liked to see. However, they're dealing with circumstances that are different every time, and things don't always go the right way. You got to figure things out, because I would have loved to see that car back on its wheels long before it did, but they did the best they could, and everything was fine, and I think they handled it wonderfully. That gives me confidence that when my day comes, that's going to happen. So I don't wish it. I had a glimpse of it last night when I almost hit the wall.
Oh yeah.
I did. I had a glimpse, and I thought, oh, here we go. It would have been a good one. I probably, because I don't know what would have happened there, but because I was in a pack too when it was happening. So I think the track handles everything well. I think that the group of people that are racing there now are good people for them, really. I know last year, at the beginning of the year, because I'm beside Spencer, and Spencer's racing, at a higher level. So he was racing with the 22. And I forget the fellow's name that drives the car.
Jordan Wilms.
Yeah. I remember this. And this is a great story, because this is how things should go. We noticed that Jordan was pinballing, man. He'd shoot up the middle, and he's bouncing off everybody. So Spencer gave him the finger when they were coming off. So he walked down to the pits, and I'm standing right beside Spencer. He comes up and he goes, what's the finger about? He goes, you're driving. And he says, you're driving like an enduro, man. You're just bashing everybody. And I piped up and I said, yeah, like, we don't want to race that way, man. He said, all right. He said, I've raced. He told us about his experience at Delaware and some things. And we said, no, we don't want to do that. And you know what? And I forgot to say it to him at the end of last year, but I did last night. I found him. And I went up to him and I said, you know what? After we had that talk, you changed. You're still super aggressive. Okay. And you're still going to bang. you toned it down.
Yeah.
And I commend you for that. Thank you. And I said, I hope the thing between the person we won't mention and him is over.
Mm-hmm.
And he surprised me because he gave off a persona of, I got below that persona.
Yeah.
I could see that he really does care about that.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't want to be that way either. He does want to behave that way. But we all have our moments. And I want to race with people like that.
Definitely. Oh, yeah.
They're a great group. That whole group.
Mm-hmm.
I've not really officially met them all because it's more on Facebook or texting.
Yeah.
Because they were pitting way down the other side there, and it's too far to walk. Well, last night they were pitted closer, so I was able to take a walk over there, and I also got to see them at Peterborough.
Right.
Man, those guys! I want to get hooked up with those guys with food, man. Those guys know what they're doing. Like they're top notch.
Oh yeah.
Like they were having gourmet meals there.
They were.
I want in on that. So that, it's wonderful that things can get resolved that way.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work out that way. You both have to be willing to accept responsibility because it's never as easy and cut and dry as as it seems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's great that a driver can take and listen and learn and change. And I give those guys, I have a lot of respect for them now, and him. Changed my whole what I thought I saw. Now, mind you, they're there to win, and he's still going to push people around.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to do it better. More, you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
And that's great. That's what we want. I mean, you don't see guys like Wade, Leo doing stuff.
Yeah.
They're smarter than that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Like, it was funny when those two guys, the 22 and the guy we won't mention, had their thing. They're fighting for 8th.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Don't be stupid. Like I was fighting for 15th.
Yeah.
Use your head. But it's so great. I've made some great friends, and I know that I'm looking to make more. I'm looking forward to getting to know you guys better. I think you guys are you're a little quieter, a little bit, and everybody's different.
Yeah.
You got to accept people, and I'm starting to get to know you guys. This is just a tiny bit. I know Chase more.
Yeah.
Because we've had conversation, and now I feel totally at ease saying and talking to him.
Yeah.
And I'd love to hear his feedback, but I think that's coming. I think he's got to feel more comfortable with me and understand. And I know when him and Spencer had, and there was a bit of yelling going on and stuff. I said to Spencer, I talked to both of them.
Yeah.
I said to Spencer, that was nothing. You're making a big deal out of nothing.
Yeah.
And, I know Chase was a little bit upset, or, not upset, but, and I said to him, I said, you just keep doing what you're doing and don't worry about stuff.
Yeah.
And I know, talking to Spencer, like later on after the heat had worn off, he understood. It was cool. And everything's cool. I'm hoping, and I've said this to Chase, that come on down, or we should come up and we should talk more.
For sure. Yeah.
Because then everybody gets to know who you are, and
Mhm.
you get comfortable enough to say, "Hey, Mark, don't be an idiot." And I'll say, "Oh, really? Yeah, okay."
Yeah. It's true though, and that's our downfall. We're pretty
Well, I can understand
quiet.
it. No, but it's okay. Like, look at Chance.
Yeah.
He's kind of like that too, a
Yeah.
little bit, and that's okay. But I go talk to him. I go up to. I make sure I do, and
Mhm.
like when he bumped me there a bunch of times there the first race, I gave him a pug sticker. I said, "This is for hitting me." You get a sticker.
So,
anyways.
Mark, it has been fantastic to have you. I'm gonna be honest. The past few minutes here, I'm like, when can I interject? When can I? Trying to figure out.
I'm sorry.
First of all, no.
I get on a roll like that, and
Do
I'm
not
passionate.
apologize. Do
okay.
not apologize. This is what we want. When people come on the show, they don't want to listen to us with it when our guest is on. They want to listen to you. And I've enjoyed this so much. You have
And
no
I'm
idea.
passionate about it, really, and the young people too. I love to see it, and I love to see people overcome things.
But before we let you go,
Yep,
we do have to get through our tailored to you medium design fan question period. As you saw earlier today, we tagged you in it. That we were going to bring you on, and of course, we got ourselves a fan question. You ready to answer it?
All right. Yeah,
All
bring
right,
it on.
Megan, take it away.
William_Trillium said, "What has been your favorite racing memory?"
Overall, I'll give you a couple. Well, probably my favorite racing. One of my favorite. When you're a kid, you're 10 years old, back in this, I want to see crashes, man. And I can remember a hobby car flipping over the fence. I don't remember what year it was, and I thought that was pretty awesome. Now I'm sure the racer didn't think it was, but my memory, probably Peterborough. Peterborough was a turning point for me this year. I finished the year fairly strong at Flamboro as far as my times, and I was starting to feel more comfortable. And Peterborough it went to a whole new level. And I was racing a lot with Leo. We just happened to be together a lot, and I couldn't have been together with a better guy. I passed people. I think I qualified sixth, and I didn't make it to the feature because it was held a week later, and I was too old and tired to come back. But and the fun we had and the camaraderie that we had over that weekend. Leo giving me several hugs and wanting pictures and all that kind of stuff. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I'd say, in recent memory, that would be my favorite moment.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
It's people.
Yeah. Well, that's going to wrap up our Tailor to Medium Design fan question period this week. Unfortunately, it was only the one question.
That's all right. Everybody's busy. They're
exactly.
at sunset.
Yeah.
They're doing stuff.
Exactly.
They'd be stupid questions anyways if it was like Cam and all those guys. Why do you look so ugly? Or,
you know what? We
why
always
are
throw
you
those
the
in
pug?
still.
Or, something like that. It would be fun. I know I've watched a couple of your episodes, and I've noticed you said, man, I want to have a round table. I want to do something. You know what? It would be wonderful to have. I don't know if you can, how many little squares you can put on the screen, but maybe get 6 or 7 of us.
I can get up to 30, I think.
Sorry?
I think I can get up to 30.
Oh God.
I'd have to recheck
that might be cool. Like
I could sit here with my mic off. Just
it might be X-rated though too. It might be X-rated.
That's fine.
Yeah. Especially if Cam Thompson is around, because he swears a lot.
He does, but you know what? He's curbing it a lot lately on the show compared to his like first or second time on the show.
I told him the first time he did it, and I heard him swear. I went up to him at that next time I saw him, said, "Don't do that again.
Yeah.
Doesn't look good. Don't."
No.
But I know he's a passionate kid, and he may have a different vocabulary.
Yep.
But he's respectful. And I think that it wouldn't surprise me if you see changes with him in that. Racing for him is his life.
Oh yeah.
I think it's done good things for him.
Oh yeah, and the fact that he not only does he race competitively on the asphalt, he's also very competitive on the dirt side as well, which you don't see a lot of nowadays.
And even though his sister has same kind of vocabulary, Hailey, she's complicated a little bit.
Yeah.
But I can tell you one thing about her, and I can see through it all. She's been so wonderful to her brother. In fact, she spoils him. And she's helped him a lot.
Oh yeah.
And it's nice, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I think it's nice to see that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because, we all need to help each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mark, before we let you go, we want to give you a couple minutes here to thank everyone you want to thank. It's been a pleasure having you on. I was just messaging Megan. I'm like, we're gonna have to bring you back on once again at a later date here. Again, maybe who knows? Maybe we'll get to the chance to do that roundtable thing that I've been wanting to set up, but we'll see where it goes. But yeah, next couple minutes here is all yours. Feel free to thank whoever you want to thank.
Okay. I guess the first person I got to thank, and he's no longer with us, and that's why I have 40 on my car, is my dad. My dad was the one that took me to the races from probably 1970. You know what my first race was? 1971 Grand Prix at Motorsports. And then I remember going to that. I remember being at the end of the straightaway, and they used to get air. They took the bump out there. But anyways, he took me faithfully every Saturday to Flamboro Speedway for a number of years, and put that bug in me that stuck with me my whole life.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got to thank him first, and then everybody else at the track, all the young people, all the people that have had kind words and that have been so encouraging and accepting and everything else. I thank them all. I thank Frank Caselli for giving me my first job. It was only $2.15 an hour, and but yeah, everybody around me, and I guess I can't miss this person too, because my wife. At first, she wanted me not to do this, and I just brought a car home.
Yeah.
And after a week of not talking to me, and she was willing to go along with it, and it was a real rough start. I remember putting my car on the trailer. She told me, "Put your car on that trailer. We're going," and she said, I remember her saying to me, this is how you're going to behave, I'm not coming anymore.
Yeah.
And from that day forward, I changed. I had to respect her, because, she was scared. She was worried what was going to happen. I think now, even though she may be worried and everything else, she's a lot more comfortable, and she's starting to like it. So I'm happy for that. And she's actually coming to Peterborough next year. I want her to come and hang around and stuff, and she's up for it. So
nice.
I'm so happy for that. So yeah, her also.
Awesome. Well, Mark, it has been an absolute blast having you on. Like I said, we're gonna we'll talk off screen. We'll get you rescheduled in for a later date.
I'm super flexible, and thank you for doing what you're doing for Josh. through Nick Clark.
Yep. I still got to reach out and schedule that out.
Yeah, there's no panic on it.
Yeah,
there's no panic. But that kid, I just to see, I got to see, he was like 10 years old, and Nick was taking him down to Grand Bend, and then Nick was taking him to Varney at practice, and he was doing like 300 laps, and he's a great kid, young. So I think it would be, I think he'll enjoy it. He might be a real shy or something or whatever, but the kid wants to race, and he couldn't be in a better family for that.
Absolutely. Once again, Mark, we're going to get you back on again.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for joining us this week on the True North Racing Podcast.
Thank you, John. And thank you, Rachel and Megan.
We should have just left Rachel in here for the whole conversation.
Yeah.
Megan?
Yeah.
But I'm happy for you, Megan. You're doing well. Keep doing what you're doing.
You too.
You're getting fast.
Thank you.
You got to work on being fast in a crowd.
Yeah.
That's your next step. Yep. And just take your time doing it. Move up when you think you can. Mm-hmm. When you got the right people around you.
Yeah.
And if you see Wade or the 90 car coming, just get the hell out of the way.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
That's what I already do.
Anyways.
All right, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. You can go enjoy the rest of your Sunday night, okay?
You too.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Yeah.
And we're back from our conversation with Mark Allan. It was amazing to have him on. It was great. I'm going to be honest. It was one of the most easiest conversations we've ever had.
Yeah. Mark's a really good guy. He's a really good driver, and he's got a lot of good stories. So it's really nice to hear it from him. So
last Saturday, we were actually supposed to be vlogging with Mark at Flamboro Speedway, but unfortunately Mother Nature won, as we all know. Him and I were talking this week, and he actually wants to gift one of his race day vlogs to Josh Clark.
Oh, nice.
So I got to reach out to the Clark family here and set up a date to go do his race day vlog this year up at Varney.
Aw.
So thank you, Mark, for doing that. That's it's gonna be a lot of fun. I didn't have full throttle on my schedule this year, so it's gonna be kind of cool to add that date to the schedule. I'm going to be honest. We're going to keep this pretty short and sweet. We're going to get out of here as soon as possible for you guys. Next week, I will be at Sunset Speedway on Saturday with Roy Wilkie and the Super Stocks. We're doing a race day vlog there, so you guys can catch me at Sunset next weekend. Megan, I think, will be back at Flamboro for night 3 of 20 now for the season. Make sure you guys are following us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and as well as following along at joemedia.ca to stay up to date on everything going on with Joe Media promotions throughout the summer and throughout the year. Let's just call it a night, Megan. How about you? All right, for Megan Mitchell, I'm John Morrison. We'll see you guys next week. Bye now.
Smell the gas and feel the vibe, going into overdrive. Drop the flag, then the car zooming by. Hey, True North Racing, let's go.